I chose this poem by Mary Oliver from her book Redbird. I brought up Mary Oliver in our poetry workshop, and Jenny, where's Jenny?
Right here.
I made some mention of something that Mary Oliver could do in a poem, and she said, well, Mary Oliver can do whatever the hell she wants. And I thought that was extremely astute, by the way. And it's true that Mary Oliver can do whatever she wants. But I really like this poem, so I just wanted to start with it. It's called, I Don't Want to Live a Small Life. I don't want to live a small life. Open your eyes, open your hands. I have just come from the berry fields, the sun kissing me with its golden mouth all the way. Open your hands, and the wind-winged clouds following along, thinking perhaps I might feed them. But no, I carry these heart shapes only to you. Look how many, how small but so sweet, and maybe the last gift I will ever bring to anyone in this world of hope and risk. So do, look at me, open your life, open your hands. She's wonderful. So I'm going to start with a couple older poems and then work my way up to more recent work. The first poem that I'd like to share is called Beginner's Luck. And I like to read it at the beginning for obvious reasons. Beginner's luck. Because that is all you have in the beginning. Hopes bigger than your own head, your heart filled with longing, your long shopping list of desire held tight in your hot hand. Because you can begin each day and begin again the story of your life, being loved by another, loving yourself more as you let go further into the now. You cast your net however you can, because the bluest waters call your name, because you hear it, remember it, begin again. Feel like I want to have my papers out here. Not used to speaking into a mic, you can tell. And then I'm going to read a couple older poems that I wrote around the time that my kids were young and life was extremely busy and full of activity. I've been told that I write a lot about the body and how we experience life in our body. And these first poems are definitely poems that are very grounded in my physical body. This poem is called Sieves. The sun is a bird that rises on its very own schedule. Immediate tasks are at hand, and my hands take flight. Bean picking, berry washing, knocking slugs off the deck. The hands that climb trees are sticky with sap. One drop of maple syrup draws a circle of ants. There are bee stings to be cleaned, a thorn to be drawn out backward from the wound. Insects and simple sugars, dirt, a fingernail. Our bodies become sieves for everything. Everything that matters, matter itself, bleeding, mutable, beautiful. Wildflower seeds scatter on a hot wind. Even the clouds have somewhere to go, disappearing deliberately toward the south. Birds rule the air, absolutely. And this is along the same lines. I wrote this when my sons were young, and I thought it was interesting that Lina read her poem about living with 3 men in the house, because I did the same thing. And this poem, it's interesting, it has some similarities to the poem that Lina read. called Flight for my sons, Dashiell and Julian. They are full of noise, superheroes made of bounce, full of everything they will ever be, full of me, him, multiplying. I get a kind of motion sickness in their force field, vertigo of my body's axis setting my hair on end. I play the hanged woman to the hanged man, begin to see how we attach, stand up, stay. I want to hold still, a painter standing back to assess the mystery, the masterpieces they make of themselves at the tips of my fingers. But they eject from earth, from me. Like spring squirrels, they dive and circle, chase and scream. We all scream, some louder than others, some longer, the bragging songs of flight and timely retrieval. The commotion we make is a hot tornado that pushes us up through the roof of the world defined by gravity. Our capes snap in the steady blue breeze. And then continuing with these poems that are sort of grounded in the body, this poem is called Song for My Tongue. How deftly you relax, wet and ready for speech behind my sharp teeth. You are a slave to wanting, to pleasures taken and pleasures given, generous and greedy too. A sweet snake you are, with amazing powers, to name and to taste in one breath. And then this poem is pretty new and it's a little weird. It's called Poem to My Right Leg. Do you ever do that exercise where you close your eyes and you sort of scan through your body? And I just did that one time and I realized that my right leg just had a lot to say about a lot of things, and this poem came out of that process. Poem to my right leg. Born a leader, you have been made a follower, tagging to keep up and barely succeeding. Slew-footed and self-conscious to a fault, you're the one that takes a break first. You'd be better off standing on your own and resent the left leg in all its strength. When I step back, it is with you, because I know your tendency for small considerations. Your foot is conscripted to the gas pedal, pushing ahead tirelessly on its cocked and soft heel. Likewise, the arabesque would be impossible without you, a precise rudder pointing towards the past. On balance, you take the cake, a delicate trick of air and beauty, bearing your true soul. And this poem I read the last time I read here, and I just want to share it because it definitely goes with the theme of how we experience our physical bodies. And it was also a poem that just sort of came out full blown. Like I wrote the rough draft and really changed it like very little, which doesn't happen that often. So I'm sort of amazed at it for that reason. It's called Ultrasound Odalisque. A hard-to-read mammogram has brought me to this cool, almost dark room. A narrow bed set among machines and blinking lights, the whir of a computer. I am asked to take my left arm over my head and roll slightly to the right, a position I offer to my lover or to sleep, and now to this skilled technician. She barely looks at me, but focuses on computer images made of shadow, sound waves echoing off my dense tissues that reveal edges and outlines of concern. At ease in this angle of repose and languor, I rise up and embrace the beauties of a more romantic era. My breast, pink and shy, offered up for the sake of art. The wand slides easy and impersonal over my breast, the nipple rising straight up to the ceiling in piqued attention, if not arousal, my whole being overwhelmed with the desire to live. It's amazing what comes out when you're scared. And then it feeds well into this next poem, which is a fairly new poem, and I have to say that Wina and Sel helped me with this poem quite a bit. It flips. Desire pushes us through the world, the urge to seek and find without greed, taking just what we need and being filled. See how the bumblebee wallows in the pollen cup of each flower, disappears into the deepest blossoms and emerges coated in gold. After wandering and fasting, the Buddha himself came home to the needs of his body, his belly growing round and full, shining like a full moon for all to see. Oceans expand and then recede. The wind will not be denied. Wild creatures are food for other wild creatures, lolling in the sun, picking meat from their teeth. We too deserve to be satiated at the breast of our longings, to languish and receive the blessings of our flesh, our mortal pleasures taken. One thing I was saying earlier about reading poems that you're not quite sure are done is that you really hear them in a different way when you share them with people. This poem too, I'm not sure if it's finished, but I like some of what is here already. It's called Love for the Body. On a cold day, see your breath as it escapes in white puffs in front of your face. The sight of your spirit free to go its own way, with no particular patience or belonging to you. Could you stop it, or would you even try, clinging to that air at the risk of your life, blind to how the out-breath is fulfilled by itself, but happy to pull you along? We believe we inhabit our bodies so completely, when clearly they are beyond our grasp, belonging only to time and other forces which remain mysterious, even as they move within. And then, I'm reading fast. These last poems are all sort of a little more grounded in nature and the natural world. A few oldies and a few new ones. This poem is called A Late Fall This Year. A late fall this year, the earth turning faster than the leaves, sticking stubbornly to trees or drifting about aimlessly as usual. The wine grapes stayed green, then ripened quickly, prey to migratory birds working fast to catch up with time. Rotted blossoms cling to each other, torrid oranges and hot pinks bobbing in late afternoon light, almost light-hearted. I really love fall and always am prolific in the fall. And this is another fall poem. It's called Planting Garlic. The black soil glistens in late afternoon light. It could be spring, but it's the waxing moon of October, a warm breeze blowing in from the south. The garlic skins flutter purple and gleaming white from my hands. Nutka rose, Ichilium red, and purple glazer. The cloves easily peeled and revealing moist pearls of fragrant gold. Arranged in circle patterns like crocodile teeth or bits of shell, my thumb finds each and pushes it down, just like I was taught or taught myself this art of hope against winter. We've almost made it. This little poem I'm going to share next, I wrote it on November 9th after living through the events of November 8th. And I realized more and more how we all really did collectively go through this like huge kind of shock and insult. But anyway, you know, different things motivate poetry, and sometimes I really have the clear sense that I'll write a poem because it's like a ladder, you know, it's like a ladder out of some place where you really don't want to be. So this little poem is just called Look Up. Squirrels have a lot of work to do, but don't have a time clock. Birds don't belong to political parties, but tweet on and on and on. The vast blue sky blazes overhead, whether you look up or not. Look up. Which is a good thing to remember whenever you feel depressed, right? Just look up. It just helps. I'm not sure why. And then I'm going to share a couple little poems about snow, and both of these are pretty new poems. The first one is called Spring Snow. The dense quiet, then the glow that brightens the sky even at 2 a.m. The angel of the intricate snowflake has touched down, softening every edge, quiet and sneaky with her startling grace. Pink and pink-white flowering fruit trees will bend and break under her weight. Water will run in the streets like small rivers, bounding over the broken limbs. But in the night, she is light of step and whispering into my sleeping ear, awaken. I love that moment when you wake up when it's snowed and it's like all really quiet, and it's just, I never get tired of that. And then this little piece I was just working on over the last month or so, and I wrote it when we got our first snowfall last fall or early winter. It's called First Snow. Crisscrossing snowflakes dance in the air like birds. Mocha brown mourning doves coo and cluster under the feeder. Their pale breasts and under feathers revealed as they flutter upward, bouncing on tree limbs to relieve them of weight, creating their own flurries of sifted white powder. The towies ask why. The crows know. The hummingbirds huddle together. I'm still not sure that hummingbirds do huddle together. I know that I was hearing ornithologists in the house, because we talked about that in our writing group, whether they really do that, but they're just so teeny that I can't imagine that they don't huddle together. Or, I just can't, they must. All right, let's see. This last thing I'm going to do is just, it's a poem that I wrote just for fun, but it's also kind of a nice mental exercise. So I invite you to close your eyes and just let yourself go with the images. There's been a lot of talk lately about bubbles and how we live in our bubbles, but try to put those ideas about bubbles out of your head. But it's just a little exercise in finding your happy place. So it's called pink bubble technology. Anyone can put a pink bubble around themselves. And once you know how to do it, you'll wonder how you ever got through life without it. Your pink bubble looks exactly the way you think a pink bubble should. Glossy, soapy, soft and round, flowing, opalescent and innocent. You get the idea. Put yourself right inside your pink bubble and look around, letting it expand and change as you take in all of its aspects of light and shape. Now float around in there, feeling the sweet comfort and ease of being surrounded by this all-encompassing and perfect embrace. Get to know your pink bubble intimately, visualizing exactly how it feels and functions so you can call it to yourself whenever you want. The pink bubble will be your friend and ally in many situations where you need absolute clarity. Walking, speaking, driving, and especially thinking. Your tasks will get done effortlessly. People will open their hearts to you and appreciate your ideas. All physical and non-physical obstructions evaporating. People around you might notice something different about you, and you will see shifts of time and space occurring as you fully engage with this technology.